Hey, how is everybody? Lou from RV Habit. On my next step for upgrading to affordable lithium batteries with the Unowix. Now, the first thing you got to remember is I said you needed a battery monitor. The 4-light system that's on your RV, that works off volts, and lithium batteries maintain a constant voltage, so that will not work for lithium batteries. You really should add a new battery monitor, and again, I put that video out. It's installing an LiFePO4 battery monitor. I'll leave a link to it up above, but that should be one of your first steps. The next step, of course, is installing a lithium compatible charger converter. Now, most of them are, the newer ones are going to be able to be adaptable. They either do it automatically or there's a jumper or a switch you can use. I had to get a new one. I got a new one from bestconverter.com. Great price, and we're going to install this today. And the first thing you need to do is disconnect your power. So I'll disconnect the power, and then the second thing I'm going to do is totally disconnect the batteries, so there's no chance of any arcing or problems in here. Again, if you're not comfortable with this work, hire a technician to do it, okay? But next, after the coach is disconnected from the power, I'm going to disconnect the batteries. So this is my battery bank underneath my steps. Now, before you do anything, and everybody's wiring is going to be a little bit different. I mean, yeah, positive to positive and negative to negative, but the wires you have coming from your RV may be a little bit different than what you see here. But the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect this, and this is that shunt I put in from the LI meter. But the first thing we'll do is take off the negative terminal. Then I can go back and I can get my positive wires off. Going to find your power control center. Usually they're by the door. In some travel trailers they're in the bedroom, even in the kitchen. Wherever they want to fit them, they fit them. And they're usually held on with a couple screws. We'll take them out. And there's usually one in the center. It's a tiny one. And this will come right off. Now, if you look at this, this will tell you complete wiring diagram on the inside of the panel if you need it. But let's put that to the side for a minute. So now what we're looking at is your AC side and your DC side. So AC runs all the what would typically be like your house current, like your microwave, your outlets. DC pretty much runs all the lights, computer boards, the boards that operate the air condition, the refrigerator, anything DC on this side. And this is where your charger connects, right? Your converter charger connects right here. Some boards, it's up top and the wires go up and around. These boards just clip right out, and then you can run the wire back around. Mine's real easy, it's right in the front. Now, I know I unplugged it, I know I disconnected the batteries, but it does not hurt to double check everything you do. Nothing. Oh, that's millivolts, by the way, what you're seeing there. And I'll just check the AC side. Nothing. 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 Okay. So I know I'm good. Now I can safely work on this panel. So a lot of times you'll have two different type of charger converters. One that's part of your power control center. It slips in the bottom. fly in here. And the other type is, you'll find it to the side or behind the power control center. It's a box with a plug, and it just plugs in, and then these two wires would connect to that box. Okay, mine is built in. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to disconnect these two wires here that go to the control board. Okay, and that's what feeds from the charger converter to your DC side. Okay, and they'll just pull out just like that. Okay. The next thing on my board, I have a Smart Wizards Progressive Dynamics. There's a little clip here that connects to the board. I'm going to take that out. And that'll plug into the new board. And the last three wires go to your AC side. That's what takes the AC, turns it into DC here, and pushes it to the DC panel, and it also charges your battery. So there's three wires. You have a black, which is hot, a white, which is neutral, and a green, which is ground. So very easily, we're going to take the ground off. Wrong screw. Down here, bottom screw. Take the ground off. Then we're going to trace up. We're going to take the neutral off. And this should go to the very top one. Most of the time the top breaker in the RV is for the converter, but we'll check. And it is. The top is for the converter. And we'll just loosen this up. Oh, can't get in there with that driver. Let's see if I can get in there with this. Nope, I'm going to have to get a different driver. Okay, I'm back with a longer tip so I can get into that. Loosen that nut up, and that'll come right out. And then just wheedle that down. So now we have all our wires disconnected. We have our pin wire disconnected. Now we could slide the converter out. And that's just held in by two screws right in front. And it'll slide right out. And that's what she looks like. Now, the more current boards I'll show you on the new one, they have jumpers here that you can make it either lead acid batteries, gel batteries, AGM batteries, or lithium batteries. This is an older model. It doesn't do that. So let's put this to the side and we'll get the new one. So this is the new lithium capable charger converter. And you could see down here, I don't know if you can, but there's a little jumper there, and it's for lithium. This is where our pin's going to go. These two wires are going to go back here, and here's our three wires that come from the AC. And what I'll do is I'll just slide this in here first. Put these wires through the hole there. Yep, the black is going to reach fine, the ground, and the neutral. Everything will reach fine. I'm going to take this plug first. That's the first thing I'm going to do so I don't forget it. And I'm going to plug that back on the board. The next thing I'm going to do is do my charger wires for the DC side. And they got to be pretty snug. You don't want them to vibrate loose. And we'll get the black in there. There we go. And again, they're Allen wrenches because they really do want that to be snug. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is I'll take my hot wire here. I'm going to run that back behind the other wires. Keep it nice and clean. And we'll get that in the breaker. You know what, I'm going to take this breaker out so I can make sure I'm getting that wire in there. See, it's a double breaker. Yep. Okay. I want to make sure I have good contact. And then we'll hook that back in. The next thing I'll do is run my neutral up to the neutral bus bar. Get that in there. It's a good time to check your screws also to make sure everything's nice and tight, since everything's off. And the last wire is the ground wire. And we'll get that in the ground bus bar. Right there like that. Again, I'm just going to check some of these wires to make sure they're tight. Good. And install the two front screws again. And that lithium charger is installed. It is that basic. Again, if you're not comfortable with this, hire someone to do it, but it is really that easy, just a couple wires. Now there is one thing I want to do. Let me see if I got it here. So I made a little label, and it's pretty important because you don't know what's going to happen to your RV down the road. You're going to sell it or somebody's working on it. I made a little label that says lithium battery converter charger. So I'm going to stick that right here on the side. Right here on the side. So anybody who comes in here, does some work on it, or if I sell it, they know that this is set up for lithium. You cannot put lead acid batteries without switching the jumpers on this first. That's it. She's all done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the power, and I'm going to make sure everything works and that I'm getting power through the board to my DC circuits. Okay, my power's plugged back in. My surge guard just reset, so I know I have power to the RV. When it powered up, I saw this fan give a little jiggle, but we are going to now test to make sure that converter is putting out power, and it is. It's putting out 14.57, and that's the difference between lithium. Typically this would be like 13.2 to 13.6 for a regular charger. Lithium needs to be charged at a higher rate, and it'll take a charge much faster. But that's working fantastic. And if I check here, I have it. I have the batteries disconnect off, so I know I'm not getting any problem there. But it's feeding. Got two lines. It's feeding my DC panel. So perfect. Everything's working great. I can put this panel back on, and the step for putting the lithium charger in is done, and that is actually probably the easiest step. I didn't even get cut, so we're just about done. So that was it for installing the lithium converter charger, and it's the same as if you just had to replace any charger in case it broke or something like that. But very, very simple if you're comfortable with wiring. If you're not comfortable with wiring, please hire a technician to do it. I don't need to tell you what electricity can do to you, and the DC side, most people say, oh, it's not a problem. It can hurt you. It packs a lot of amps. So please, if you're not comfortable, get somebody to help you or hire a technician. But I hope you join me for the last and final video in this series, and that's going to be installing these Unowix lithium batteries. Can't wait to get them in. Hopefully I'll get to that tomorrow. I will be doing a complete blog article on my website, rvhabit.com, to outline everything. It'll have all 4 videos on it. It'll have all the specifications for this battery in PDF form if you want to do some more research on it. And I hope you join me. But as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.